What's up, YouTube? I'm Brett.
I'm Lance.
This is Rants or Us. Today we're going to be discussing, is Vanya too powerful to live? Off the Umbrella Academy. What do you think?
No, I don't think so.
Man, she blew up the moon.
I think that when they time travel, she's going to have to learn to control it.
Well, it all depends on if she's still, I don't know if you call that evil or just...
Well, I think she's
just not able to control her powers.
Because her powers are linked to her emotions. So when she gets mad or she gets sad, or, it just comes out like she can't control it. She's got to learn to control her emotions.
But, so how could she ever control it? I mean, how could she...
Controlling your emotions and staying level-headed instead of just getting pissed off because they didn't want you to come to their tea party.
Fair enough. She did kind of try to kill her sister with what? Violin strings?
With violin bow.
Yeah, oh yeah. So, I mean...
Slit her throat.
So, I mean... Yeah, that's kind of like going to be a hard sell for me to believe that she could handle that.
Does she get on maybe a mild dose of that medicine where she can still use her powers, but she's not out of control?
Well, would anybody want to watch a Vanya that is the old Vanya?
Because I didn't get interested in her until she got her powers. She quit taking her medicine and then realized she had them all along.
She was the most... I thought Allison was kind of a boring character.
Allison is a pointless.
But she is she's pointless. But then she actually does have like outbursts and some kind of emotion.
It seemed like Allison might have a bigger role in season 2 because they were building up this relationship between her and Vanya. Like all them other ones, they want to lock her up and just be done with her, and it was Allison that didn't want them to do that.
See, I kind of feel like that was the part I didn't like about, and I loved Umbrella Academy, the first season of it. I loved the whole season, and I thought it was one of the greatest shows on television.
I think it's the greatest show on Netflix.
Yeah, I would be hesitant to say that. I liked my Altered Carbon, and I like my Witcher.
I haven't watched those yet. Though.
So I mean,
out of what I've watched recently, it's the best show I've come.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely top.
As far as my favorite shows go, I'm in between.
Better than Frontier. Let's just put it that way.
But as far as my favorite shows, period, go right now, it's a toss up between The Boys and Umbrella Academy for me right now.
I would say The Boys are like, I don't know, kind of like here.
See, I'm the opposite. I think Umbrella Academy is a little bit above The Boys for me.
See, I just feel like I didn't like the relationship between Vanya and Allison in the show.
I didn't like the relationship between Allison and Luther.
Allison and Luther, okay. They grew up. Now this is some Game of Thrones junk.
They've been brother and sister since they were infants because they show them pushing them up in the stroller.
Exactly, and so
you were raised brother and sister. You know better than this.
And so, that's like her greatest love is Luther, which I think is like really
and it didn't make sense that she had a husband and a kid, but got mad at him for sleeping with some hooker from the bar.
I thought that the reason why he left was because. I thought it was because she was whispering that stuff to their son or something.
Their daughter. But I'm talking about I'm talking about Allison had a husband. Oh, okay. But then she got mad at Luther for sleeping with that chick from the bar that night. Why are you gonna get mad at him? You've been sleeping with somebody else for years.
You were married to somebody else.
Yeah, Vanya.
I just feel like
I don't know.
Vanya.
I kind of hope that she learns how to control it somehow. Maybe when they time travel.
She was just a.
I don't see.
She was a boring character without the powers.
I don't see how
if you control her powers, she's not interesting anymore. I mean, she just not.
Well, maybe if she has the powers and knows how to use them, she would be.
True,
but
now,
if you take them back completely away, what's the point?
It'd be kind of hard to be a superhero that doesn't ever lose their emotions. He doesn't like get angry or frustrated.
Well, no, I'm just saying maybe
somebody punches you in the face, and then you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna be happy about it."
Maybe she figures out. Maybe she figures out how to disconnect the powers from her emotions, though. Maybe she learns how to just control. Maybe not necessarily her emotions, but her powers. Like
I could, but I mean, it seems like the powers and the
maybe she
emotion almost goes hand in hand. Whether I'm missing something in that. Well, or not.
Is that the case, or is that just what Leonard told her so he could control her power?
Well, that's when he first noticed her powers outwardly.
I think he knew for a while.
I think he knew
because he had followed Klaus when Klaus stole that box from the dad's study. And he threw that away. Well, he got the dad's journal. So before he ever went to Vanya for classes, he knew. Mm-hmm. And her dad knew. Like, he was the one that suppressed them.
See, I kind of feel like that was like the bad thing about that what was his name? Reginald? Hargreeves. I kind of feel like that was the bad part about him is that he didn't tell her all these years that she had these powers. Like, he should have been, instead of trying to keep those things from her, he should have trained her.
How many, it made it seem like, throughout the show, it made it seem like he created their mom so that he didn't have to be her father. Yeah. But really, when you watch those flashbacks, he created their mom because all their other maids or nannies, she was killing them.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to make her eat oatmeal and she didn't want to eat oatmeal. So she would, like, sling them up against the wall.
See, I kind of feel like...
So he made her so that they would have a nanny that she couldn't kill.
Yeah, but see, what is the point of, he obviously didn't feel like there was any way she could control those powers. Or he would have tried to train her. Just like he tried training the other ones.
I agree with you.
So, I mean, if he didn't think that, then what makes you think that?
But... maybe he was wrong. I mean,
he couldn't.
Maybe he didn't feel like putting in the work. Huh. Maybe he just didn't feel like putting in the work to train her. So he was like, you know what? I'm just gonna.
You know what? Well, I mean,
these other ones are easier to.
He might have felt like in a team setting that she could have endangered.
She was more dangerous to them and to herself than she was.
Yeah, she could have killed civilians and she could have killed other team members.
Yeah,
like she did Allison. I mean, she kind of proved in that one instant that she, she can't control it. At least
I have two sisters, and I love them both. But if one of them slit my throat with a violin bow,
let's just say a Hallmark card wouldn't make.
I would be like, "Hey, y'all let her go. It was my fault."
Yeah, it would never be my fault in that situation. So you don't go from being like, "Hey, I think your boyfriend's a little crazy." And then you're going to slit my throat. No, that don't seem like a rational reaction to that. I mean...
yeah.
She's kind of
from denial of your boyfriend being a psycho to, I'm just going to slit your throat with my...
Especially when she kind of was starting to see it herself.
She should have been. He was getting,
controlling. He was getting very controlling.
And,
which he took a very dark turn. I was actually kind of a fan of him at first. I was like,
I never trusted
him. Guy.
I never trusted him. From her first violin lesson all the way to the end. I mean, there was something off with this.
Yeah, he just kind of showed up out of nowhere.
What grown man goes to an amateur for violin lessons?
Yeah, no.
She was third chair
I just want
the symphony.
And what does he do?
And he was like, my dad played violin.
Don't he kill the first chair?
Yeah, so that she gets a spot.
Which, that's kind of messed up in itself.
Yeah, absolutely messed up.
But he goes to all this trouble trying to get money.
The guys that he paid to beat him up so that she would lose control, the one that lived and was in the hospital, he went and killed him.
Yeah. So I kind of feel like when it comes to the father, I feel like the father just did her a disservice all the way around. But he might have been on to something though.
I think everybody did in a way.
I think they might have gave up on her a little too soon. Maybe.
I think that's probably what. Maybe if they hadn't, she wouldn't have so much resentment towards them all that would put them in danger.
Well, maybe and see, you'll see that in a lot of different shows where, there's this one dangerous one but yet because they grow up in like a team setting, they learn to kind of harness their powers a little bit better.
What do you think? Do you think she's too powerful to be kept alive?
I'd kill her. That's what I was Allison. Okay.
Well, I didn't understand why Allison didn't at the end. She has the gun pointed at the back of her head, and she's like,
she's waiting for a violin string is what she was like.
She's like, man. And then she's like, I'm going to blow up the moon. So I'm like, everybody's like, oh, Vanya caused the end of the world. Did she? Or did Allison?
Allison kind of. No, there's no doubt about who caused
Allison had put her down.
No end of the world. But then there's also no season 2. So.
Well, I get that you have to do this for that.
So I get the plot point kind of works for that, but still at the point.
I get that, but I'm like, in reality, I would have shot the bitch.
I would have shot it too. Especially if she cut my throat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then she's sitting there about to kill all your other siblings / boyfriend. I don't know. Which
makes it, like, wouldn't it kind of like double the reason to
put her down?
Put her down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because it's like, if I don't kill her now, she's going to kill. She knew that there was going to be end of the world situation if it didn't.
She thought by stopping her, she would stop the end of the world.
Yeah, but is that how time travel works?
I don't understand why. We asked about those time travel people. Why weren't they trying to stop the end of the world? Well, maybe they were, because they said to protect her boyfriend at all costs. Mm-hmm. So it made it look like keeping him alive. If you killed him, you would stop the end of the world. But then she killed him, and then it brought on the end of the world.
So, fair enough. You know what? I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah, I didn't either.
So maybe, wouldn't it be kind of funny if they're actually the good guys at the end, just trying to save the day? And it could be trying to bring on the end of the world. Could have been just the number 5's way, their way of getting number 5.
What was her name? The blonde-headed chick that was over the assassins.
I can't remember
either, but I think she tells 5 at some point. You're gonna find out we're not the enemy.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Maybe the whole point of all of this is to actually, cause, grab number 5. Yeah, because let's face it, number 5, if he hadn't gone through all the stuff that he went through in the future, and
they also made it look like if he had just killed JFK, none of this would ever happen. Because he walked out on that job.
Yeah.
And then that's where everything got twisted.
So was he really the reason? Or was it the other way around?
So which one of them really has too much powers to be kept alive? Maybe
something about the JFK assassination is gonna, of course, gonna play a pivotal role.
Now I think that maybe 5 has too much power to be kept alive because he can just go and change the world anytime he wants to.
You know what? I have this problem with The Flash, and I kind of have this problem with any show that deals with time travel. I feel like
Back to the Future.
Yeah,
those were awesome.
Back to the Future is great, but he almost went back and slept with his mom. So even those shows have something wrong.
But even on those shows, they tell you do not mess with the space-time continuum.
Yeah,
and that's all 5's doing.
I know he's constantly going back and like that's what I don't really quite understand exactly. How can you have a whole secret society or assassins or whatever that go back in time and constantly changing time? Why don't they have a, it just feels like they constantly be ruining.
Well, maybe 5's the villain anyway, because if you could time travel and you come back.
Would you really want number 5 to be over time?
No. But, if you could time travel and you came back and all your siblings are like, oh yeah, not long after you left, Ben, he died violently. Wouldn't you time travel to save your brother's life? See, I don't feel like 5 gives a crap about anybody except for 5. Well,
and the mannequin.
The mannequin.
He cares a lot about the mannequin.
Dolores.
Yeah. I think her name is Laura in All American. I think they changed her name. So I gotta feel like that should be like a crossover series. You know, where the mannequin is actually
if it was on CW, it would.
Actually, would it would
make sense? All American. Why would it make CW?
It's literally like number 5 made a wish upon a star, and then brought Laura or his mannequin wife into All American.
Like, what is up with the apocalyptic people just like being in love with mannequins? Because Will Smith was an I Am Legend, and it's almost the same man.
It's what?
The apocalyptic people, like people that live in the apocalyptic world, are like obsessed with mannequins. Like Will Smith was an I Am Legend, and I
almost
actually think it's
feel
the
like
same mannequin.
Yeah, almost kind of. Could very well be. See, that's a love triangle that we maybe haven't thought of or contemplated.
But I don't think Vanya is too powerful. I don't think they're gonna have to kill her. I think they're gonna twist it somehow. I think maybe when they time traveled, it snapped her out of it. I don't know.
I would say if it went the way that I would personally want it to go, I think she would be too powerful and they'd have to put her down like Old Yeller. But still, I mean, it would be a sad ending. But it would be a necessary one. I didn't cry when Hey, you know what? Fair enough. I did. That was a sad movie.
I shot the dog.
I shot the dog. You're a Vanya. But either way, what I would say, I would actually say that I'd put her down.
I think if they did, though, there wouldn't be much story arc to go off of because I feel like that's what they're trying to make their main story right now.
I kind of feel like Allison would literally have no story.
Or she would rumor all her siblings to kill themselves because they killed her sister.
You know, if you really think about it, she's more dangerous than
she's the most dangerous of all.
Because, I mean, all she's literally got to do is start running.
Like, I heard a rumor that you die.
You know how terrible Allison had to probably be in high school? Like, oh my goodness. She would be the worst popular girl in school.
They didn't go to school, though. They didn't go to school, though.
Which is probably for a good cause. I mean, we look at the professor guy and like, oh, he's such a horrible guy. Was he?
Well, he was a bad dad, for sure.
He was a bad dad. Well, yeah, he did kind of lock up his daughters, or lock away her powers. At least.
And Klaus, he locked him in the room with dead people?
Well,
to make him communicate with the dead. To
so did Bruce Willis. I mean, all of this ties in together. All I can say is...
You don't want to talk smack about Bruce Willis. Have you seen the Die Hard movies?
Good boy. Hey, I'm already on Jason Momoa's bad side. Still think he's got a cat fetish, guys. But either way, all I can say is number 5, watch out for Will Smith.
Thanks, guys.
All right, y'all take care.